All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to a review here. Me and Marcus Elias.
Not my name.
It should be today. It is. That's your name. It is going to be the review of the Avengers Endgame.
We did it!
Dude, it's the
10
end.
years.
It's funny, we were talking about it last night, that we started reviewing movies on current TV back in the day.
You and I have history with this, too, because you look
Iron
at 10
Man.
years of the MCU.
11.
Now, do you remember the movie that we saw Iron Man opening weekend?
Dark Knight.
No,
What?
Because we got into Iron Man.
is it the Monkeys
and then
one?
we saw the Whitney Cummings was in the Maid of Honor movie.
That
Remember
was just
that?
on television the other day.
That was just on television. So this is Avengers Endgame, guys. This is a non-spoiler review.
Right.
We're not spoiling anything.
Not a thing.
If anything, we are tiptoeing on eggshells on the broken glass from
Be
Die
very
Hard.
careful.
We do not want to draw blood at all. What we will tell you is that Avengers Endgame is the sequel to Avengers Infinity War. So
It's a sequel to
after
everything.
Infinity War, Thanos snapped,
Yep.
helped everybody out, cleared up traffic on the 405.
You could look at it that way
One
if you're a
band of
villain.
ragtag assholes thinks, no. We miss people.
We gotta figure it out.
We need to avenge this snap.
And so again, without giving spoilers, there are people that were left alive that
Yes.
decide to take part in that adventure to avenge. And so what I'll say about the movie itself is you've heard about the 3-hour runtime. It is accurate. It's 3 hours, but it flows as you knew that it would. There's stuff. It's slower in the beginning, and I dug that about it. I like that it was slower. It takes a while to get going in a good way.
I think it had to be that way.
Me too.
I think that this movie kicks off actually, and the way the movie kicks off, I feel like we're right along on the adventure.
Emotional.
And then I think that in the same way that Infinity War felt like it got a little beefy in the middle, this one also gets beefy in the middle. Which I liked. I thought that this movie probably could have been 2:30, and I would have been fine with it.
I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in there.
I'm not going to complain about.
There's one or two scenes that I said I don't know if it needs to be in there, but then I said to myself, you know what? They've earned it.
They've earned it, and so this movie, as much as it is like a narrative and furthering the story, this also does. It feels like the best 10-year high school reunion.
Yeah.
It's with a lot cooler people than anybody went to high school with. But it's got a reunion feel to it. It's got a furthering the storyline element
And they pay
to
respect to everything that's happened before them in a way that I thought was very was interesting, was cool. It was a series finale. We've been calling this thing a television show for a long time. It has this narrative that it's serialized, and it's the series finale for these characters that we've been following for so long.
That's the crowning achievement of what the Russo brothers have now established,
And
along
Kevin
with
Feige.
Kevin Feige, is that the fact that they directed this movie, and that this movie, I think the biggest takeaway from this is that it's such a satisfying treatment for characters that we've seen for the last 10 years, for characters we've been introduced in those 10 years to. And I don't think that there's any character that I was like, you know what, I would have liked more from this person or less from this person. I think everybody got their due share, given the events of what happened in Infinity War in particular. But I think that the performances are fantastic. It's very hard for me to be like, oh, well, you know, Robert Downey Jr. was better in this Iron Man than he was in this and this.
Right.
But everybody brought their A game to this table.
As they should have, and we knew that they were going to.
And a lot of good surprises, too.
There was, and there's always the conversation of humor. I thought most of the humor hit in this one. I thought the Russo brothers did that very well. There's some stuff that it's like I don't know if they should be going for the joke at this particular moment, but again, it is what it is.
It's almost like you're facing such incredible adversity and odds that, like, if we're in that situation after we like wet ourselves, we're like you might just crack a joke because there's nothing else.
Yeah, I mean,
to do.
Some of that, but some of it was them going for the joke, and it was fine. But it's really about, and as much as I love the beginning of it, and it's a slower burn and it pieces things together. You really go for the last 45 minutes to hour of this movie. No, the last hour of this movie is just without spoiling anything. It's epic. I mean, it just is, and you want it to be, and it all makes sense. And I think that they did certain things that maybe some people thought they were going to do, but they do it in a way that wasn't predictable. So I was like, this is really cool the way they're doing this.
Right.
So
as I'm talking about this movie, I mean, I was driving here, and I had 4.5.
Don't take birds
out of 5 schmoes.
Trouble with those things.
Was my number. No. I Ubered.
Okay.
I dropped the car off to get the windshield replaced. I had 4.5 as the number in my head.
You liked it better than Infinity War?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
See, I liked Infinity War a little bit better, but I really liked this one.
I think that this one had a tougher hurdle to climb than Infinity War did.
Sure.
And I think that when it's all said and done, I think you're going to look back on this movie maybe not as the best. Like if you have to watch one movie in the MCU, this might not always be the one you go to.
It was better than Seinfeld's finale.
It was. It reminded me of Seinfeld's finale in a way.
Did it?
In a way, in a good way. I'm damn close to giving it the 5 out of 5. What are you at?
I'm going to go about 4.4.
Okay.
5. I thought I really enjoyed the movie, and I thought it was a perfect ending to the entire franchise itself. Like you said, I think it even though I think they earned it, it's a little toothy, which is okay. And I think that there's sometimes that some of the jokes, some of the choices that were made, I wasn't all the way on board for, but that was a very slight minority. The most of it I was really on board for. I like the performances. I do think that Downey and actually Karen Gillan, who I've not been a fan of in this
franchise so much you didn't pronounce her last name right.
Gillan. But in this particular franchise, have not been a fan of. This is her best performance thus far.
I think she's gotten better with every subsequent film.
I did not like her in the Guardians movies and didn't love her even in I thought she was fine in Infinity War. She was barely in it. She's got a much bigger role in this one, and I think she nails it because I finally understood her character after all these movies. I finally understand how she was playing it and how the movie. I thought the Russos did a good way of explaining her. So she was a standout. I said that she was a standout. And again, yes, he's been playing the character for so long, but I thought that Robert Downey Jr. brought some new layers to Tony Stark that it was hard to do.
Well, I'm
Captain America as well.
I'm not sure which like set of Tony Stark glasses I'm looking at this movie through. Like I don't know if I'm wearing like the rose tinted ones and I'm thinking about the end of this film, or I'm thinking about the beginning of this film and how you're right. It did feel a little long in the tooth, but the ending was so satisfying to me. So I think I'll meet it halfway in the middle. I'm going to go 4.75.
It's a big score
out of 5 Schmoes because this is something that like again it's very rare, especially for a guy like me to want to go back to see this movie this weekend.
I'm going to see it today.
Over 3. I think it's
3 hours.
3:15.
No, not that long. Is it? Did you get emotional?
No.
See, I got emotional like 4 or 5 times. It's funny.
I did not get emotional.
I liked Infinity War better, right? But I got more emotional in this movie a few different times.
Okay.
I think one of them was because of the gentleman behind you. Which I thought of
the
big man.
sweatiest of the sweaties would have been sweating for 3 hours.
There is a scene in this movie that happens, and I felt him sitting next to me, laughing, smiling, putting his hands up, and having a conversation with him because this is everything that I think comic book fans wanted to see for a very long time.
I'm glad you brought that up really quick because there's certain sequences in this movie, and the Russo brothers are really good at doing this, is where it feels like you literally were reading a panel and it jumped out of the book, and now it's on the screen. There's certain ways that they maneuver the camera, the way that they compose shots, and it's like, this is literally the way that it would play out in a comic book, and it is so impressive to do that and not alienate audiences that are not readers of comic books. So this is a satisfying movie for your mom, for your grandma, and for comic book lovers.
Just because, again, saying to be a broken record here is that they've earned it in the fact that they've also earned the trust of the audience who aren't just comic book fans. They've been doing these movies long enough. Even if you didn't follow it all the way, people are going to ask, if I've never seen these movies, which one should I see? I think you need to see the Infinity War, obviously, and I think Civil War is probably one that you should probably watch. And then there's a couple that you probably should watch.
I actually watched the Guardians ones too.
Guardians, Ant-Man,
because I think Guardians, like when you talk about Nebula, and it figures into that. So and that interplay between her and Thanos. So there's a lot of research to do, but it's fun. It's fun homework.
It is fun homework, and I think that it's a movie. People, if you're a fan of these movies, I think you're gonna be satisfied. I think that's the best word for me is that this is a satisfying ending to the overall phase that they've done here. The first 3 phases. It's going to end. Where it goes from now, we shall see. Kevin Feige obviously has a plan, but again, 4.4.
4.75. And then speaking of the big sweaty behind me, on May 11th, they're screening The Death of Superman Lives What Happened at the Egyptian Theater.
Right.
I think it's part of Molten Fest. So I'm going to go. Here's what my schedule. I'm flying back I'm San Francisco May 10th. I'm doing stand-up up there. You can get tickets at markellislive.com. Ken Knapsack, Nick Scarpino on the show. I fly back. We're taping a bunch of stuff on the 11th. And then I'm going to go right from the set to the movie theater because Holly is presenting the movie. And so that's going to be emotional. emotional. I'll probably get more emotional there than I
course.
did at this movie, but this movie's pretty damn good.
All right. So thank you guys for checking us out. What do you think? Are you going to see the movie? Stupid question. I think everybody's going to see this movie.
Comments.
And if you have seen it, come back and give your comments.
But
and
don't
if you
spoil it.
And by the way, if you live in Houston, also come see us. We're going to be there on May 18th at the Booker T Arena, the SCHMOEDOWNlive.com. Get your tickets. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe. Do that. We have a whole not only do we do reviews here, but we have a whole trivia league,
We do
which
trivia
is very,
matches.
very
People
different,
yell at each other.
very interesting. So go and check that out. But we will see you next time.
And then up there is you got to do the thing.
Yeah.
You got to do it again. You kind of got a little long in the tooth. Speaking of Endgame, up there is the latest movie trivia Schmoedown match. You can check out. Down here is a movie review, probably The Curse of La Llorona, starring our friend Marisol. And then,
you know Marisol.
And then you can subscribe right here. So we'll see you for the spoiler heavy review.
Get shirts right there
later on this week.
Shirts.